Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Welcome back.
Yeah, man, how you doing? You good? I know you like that. I know you like that. How long you been back, man? You know you like that. 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 What? You know you like that. Come on. You know you like that.
Good afternoon on this terrific Tuesday. Welcome back to Live It Out Inc., where we're going to have honest conversation. Before we get started, I want you guys to click link. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube page. Invite a friend to join in. Let somebody know that we're on. Tonight is going to be an awesome night, a very powerful night. We're going to have honest conversation about mental health and how we're all healing in this journey that we're all on, that we're facing to in this world today. Today, I have a very special guest, And what I want you guys to realize that when people come on to share their story, it's not easy. They're very, very, very bold to do, and that means they're in a place of healing where they're ready to share, and they've come through some obstacles, they come through some trials, they come through some tribulations, and they just want to help somebody. So while you're logging on, throw your ears up, give us a shout out, let you know you here. And we're gonna check in with our online audience on the scale from 1 to 10. How has your week been going for your mental health? So y'all just check in while I introduce my guest. We have Miss Stephanie Green. She's an entrepreneur, hairstylist. She owns her own hair shop, and we're gonna bring her on, and we're gonna get started. Stephanie, hi.
Hello, how you doing?
Hi, Stephanie. Meet the Live It Out Inc. family. They'll be logging on, as we continue to have our conversation. But first of all, I just want to thank you again for just coming on and sharing your story with us. Want to thank you and I'm proud of you. Congratulations on your mental health journey. Congratulations on your business. Everything that's going awesome for you. I love it. So we're going to get started. So first of all, Miss Stephanie, I want you to just tell us a little bit about yourself and what inspired you to share your story today, because we talked a little bit backstage.
Right.
So now we're here. So I want you to tell us a little bit about yourself and what inspired you to share your story today.
Okay, my name, of course, is Stephanie Green. I'm a 40-year-old mother of one. I have a 12-year-old daughter. I've been an entrepreneur for 18 years. What inspired me to share my story was Doug reached out to me, asked me if I mind jumping on and sharing my testimony. She was impressed by one of my testimonies. And I took advantage of the opportunity, and I'm honored that you all would even ask me to speak out. I'm a big advocate for mental health. I do believe that we need to talk about it more, and just God restoring my mind back from dealing with mental health. I feel like it's essential that I spend the rest of my life manifesting his glory and how he miraculously changed my life.
Okay, so in that, just tell us a little bit, if whatever you feel like, whatever you're comfortable with sharing on your mental health journey. How did it start? Like, what are some of the things you were going through?
Okay, so when I really kind of caught something was changing was 2011. My daddy was sick. He was in and out of the hospital. And I was a daddy's girl, so I was stressed out, worried about him. I was losing weight. I was not eating, not sleeping. So for some months, his health was declining. I went over his house one day, just check on him. He couldn't open the door. I had to get the fire department to force entry. And I found him. He was responsive, but he was out of it.
Right.
And that was the last time that I saw my dad conscious. 5 days later, me and my brother had to sign the papers to pull the plug on him.
Oh wow.
And 2 days later, he passed away shortly after he was taken off the machine. That was to me the genesis of my mental health issues. So of course, after he died, I cried every day for almost a year. And one day I woke up, I couldn't breathe. It felt like an elephant was on my chest, felt like somebody was suffocating me. My heart was pounding. So I went to the emergency room. And I'm thinking like I'm having a heart attack, a stroke. And the doctor was like, well, have you experienced some trauma lately? I said, well, my dad died a month ago, last year. Oh, okay. Well, you're just dealing with anxiety and depression. And he said it so casually.
Right.
I'm like, no, you sure you don't need to put me on a heart monitor? I said, because sir, my chest is hurting. He said, ma'am, you're just dealing with anxiety and you have some manic depression symptoms. So I'm like, okay. So he prescribed me some meds. Started taking the meds. I didn't like how they made me feel. Felt like a zombie. I called the doctor like, hey, I don't like the way they're making me feel. They told me they normally take 14 days to 30 days to get in your system. But it's like, I wasn't sleeping. I wasn't eating. I wasn't crying. I wasn't happy. I wasn't sad. I just felt like a zombie.
Yeah, numb. Just numb.
Yeah, I just felt numb. So I kicked the medication. So I started getting to a place where I was getting a little bit stronger, started doing better. I ended up purchasing a home. At this point, I'm 26. I'm like, okay, things are on the up and up. I'm doing good. The following year, 2013. So at this point, I didn't need the meds. I had my moments, but I was able to kind of stabilize my mental health. It wasn't taking a toll on my daily life. 2013 comes. I ended up pregnant. 7 months in, I'm laughing, but it ain't funny. 7 months in, my child father committed a crime. And I found out on Fox 5. And it instantly sent me downhill.
Right.
So for the duration of my pregnancy, I was going through anxiety. I was going through depression. I was sick. I had hyperemesis, so I threw up every day. I already was kind of, upset and nervous about being pregnant and having a child. So it's like, okay, this was a level of grief. And the crime that he committed, he was going to be sentenced a long time. So the grief of just knowing my child is going to come into this world without having a father. Right. And I just started healing a little bit from losing my father. It reactivated that wound. So that was 2013. 3 days after I had my daughter, me and my mom got into an argument and I instantly went into postpartum. But I remember in the hospital, the nurse came in with and this is very crucial for women, came in with pamphlets and was like, here's some pamphlets about postpartum depression. I was like, oh, I'm good. I'm strong. I don't think I'm gonna have to deal with that. Right. And she was like, well, you sure? You just never know. And I said, no, I'm pretty strong. And at that point, like I said, I had anxiety and depression, but I was able to manage it and it didn't consume my life. Right. So I'm in the hospital. I'm like, postpartum can never happen to me. I'm a strong individual. 3 days after I had my daughter, it's like I instantly felt different mentally, physically. And here I am again, crying every day. I didn't know, it was funny. I didn't know what to do with a baby. Even though I was 28, I didn't know how to change a diaper. I didn't know how to make a bottle. I don't know what I'm doing. Right. So it's like I'm crying, the baby crying. Every time I try to go to sleep, she wakes up. So I couldn't get any rest. And, of course, insomnia creates insanity. Right. It's just like I was in this really low, dark place for 3 years straight. But, I never felt the what they call the maternal instinct.
The maternal instinct didn't kick in. You never
Did
felt
not
it.
kick in. Never had it. But I felt like, okay, this is my child was like my job. It was an obligation. You're here. I'm responsible for you. I got to care for you. I love you, but I didn't have that maternal
that connection.
Mhm.
It was hard to connect.
Mhm. It was no connect. It was weird. It was like, okay, this is my child. I carried you. I birthed you. And I remember before I had my daughter, I had a dog. And my dog, that was my baby. That was my
Right.
child. And I couldn't understand
Yeah,
why can't I feel
that way about your baby. And that's real. I'm glad you're saying that because that's real. That's in postpartum depression, and women don't address it and they don't talk about it.
it was
But,
strange.
yeah,
It
it's
was so strange. And it's like, okay, where's the maternal instinct? Because I never in my life heard of a woman that never had maternal instinct.
right,
I can say I never wanted to harm my baby.
right,
I never wanted to get rid of her. I never had those feelings.
right.
But for myself, I remember because I was in such a slump, I would put on game face in the car, taking her to daycare. Soon as I take her into daycare, come out and sit in my car, I would cry all the way to my destination.
Right.
I would get to work. I would have to go in the bathroom. My clients, hold on for a second, let me use the bathroom. When I wouldn't even be in there using the restroom, I would be in there crying, trying to pull myself together.
Yeah.
And I went through this for a couple of years. So I want to say my daughter was coming up on maybe a year. I found a doctor, and he was like, oh, just like the other doctor. Okay, what you're going through is completely fine. You're going through postpartum depression.
Right.
I'm going to prescribe you something. So he prescribed me the lowest dosage of Xanax and Seroquel. The Xanax was to get me through the day, kept me stable, kept me from having panic attacks. And the Seroquel, it was a mood stabilizer. So it kept me at night calm and it helped me sleep. But it was to, balance out my mood.
Yeah, you needed balance. They felt like you needed balance.
Okay, so, I didn't have any side effects. Some months on there, I say about 6 to 8 months in. Okay, this medicine, I done got immune to it. I'm back feeling these feelings.
Right.
Oh, the doctor, okay, absolutely normal. I just need to up your milligrams.
Wow.
By the time he got done with me, I was on 1 milligram of Xanax and 300 milligrams of Seroquel.
Wow.
Which is extremely high.
Yeah.
But of course, the doctor is giving it to me, so I'm thinking it's okay. I'm desperate because if I don't, and it was to the point where the Xanax was almost like a chill pill. I could feel myself shaking, and I'd be like, hold on, I gotta pop the pill. And it's like woosah in a matter of like 3 to 5 minutes. And I didn't even realize I was addicted to prescription medication. And it was an eye-opener after the fact because I'm like, who are we to judge people who on crack, heroin, all this other stuff? I'm addicted to this stuff because I have to have it to function. So what I thought function normally and to actually cope with everyday life. So 2016, I was in this really, really deep, dark. This is when at the peak, I'm like, okay, God, I don't want to wake up. Let me die in my sleep. I have life insurance. My family, they'll figure out how to take care of my child. I felt like she didn't deserve me because I couldn't give her the capacity of a mother that I felt she deserved. And so I remember I would see people on TV, such and such died. I would be mad, like, God, why you didn't let me die? Why you didn't let me just die in my sleep? Or why am I here?
Yeah, why am I here?
I don't want to be here. And when you get to that low point where life don't feel like it's worth living and the hurt and the pain, it outweighs everything, that's a dangerous place to be in.
Right.
But I can say the gift and the blessing was my daughter was my strength. I never contemplated suicide because I thought about her.
Right.
I was thinking, if I kill myself, what would I do to this child? If I kill myself, how would that affect the other people around me, but mainly her? She didn't ask to be here, but I brought her here. So it would be selfish of me to leave her here, and I brought her here.
Right.
And I'm her mom. How would I explain it? What would that look like? And she grew up and my mom committed suicide. You know, I was thinking about what she thought and how she felt, how she would feel, and how it could impact her. So that thought never crossed my mind. So in that area, she was my strength. So yeah, I just know I was at work. Well, hold on, let me run back. My cousin, I don't even remember this. Psychosis is real and it is dangerous, y'all.
Very.
And if you notice people acting weird outside of their normal characters, that's a red flag. Talk to them, find out what's going on. But when you know that a person normally operates in a certain manner, and if they're talking strange or off the wall and 1 + 1 ain't adding up,
right,
something is wrong. They need help. That's not the avenue to go attack them or be hard on them. And
they need a safe space.
Everybody was coming down on me. I remember my auntie that was keeping their daycare, she was fussing at me about the baby back, but nothing nobody was saying to me was making sense. Everything felt like condemnation, and everything just felt like I can't take this no more. So my cousin said, I called her and said, I need you to get my baby. And she said, I gotta work. I can't get her. She said, I showed up at her house. She opened the door and said, I told you I gotta work. I couldn't get her. She said, I handed her my daughter in her car seat, set her diaper bag down, went back to my car and pulled off. Mind you, I don't remember any of this.
Right.
That next day, now I do remember being at work. It just so happened I was on a friend of mine head. And I broke down. It's like
that was it.
Yeah. Like I snapped out. Next thing I know, I was in a mental hospital. And I was there. I went in on March 4th. I was there for 2 weeks. And it was like I was awake, but I wasn't aware. So it's like now one time I was asking about my daughter, like, what's Sarai? She okay? It was almost like my brain was on a retreat. And to be wide awake and unconscious and unaware, it's a miracle I'm here. Right. So I do remember before they discharge you, they do an assessment and they evaluate you. And when they evaluated me when I got there, they diagnosed me with borderline personality disorder. That's a mood disorder. It's not, some of the characteristics are like a bipolar, but the thing with a mood disorder, you'll go from 0 to 1,000.
Right. You don't never know what's gonna set them off. You never know what's gonna set you off.
Nope.
Yeah.
And it's like you could be in a normal frame of mind and you will feel, your brain will make you feel like people are against you. And it's not like a paranoia. It's just, it's kind of weird. I tried to read up on it and it's no cure for it. Right. It's just like, you just have to kind of learn how to live with it and manage it. They diagnosed me with severe depression, which I already knew that, with the crying every day, not eating, not sleeping. And I had been dealing with that since my dad got sick. Right. And my anxiety was on 10, where I was having panic attacks several times a day. And that's dangerous. That's very dangerous. That could literally kill you. But I was having panic attacks every single day. So all I remember, the doctor told me the 2 medications that I was on typically shuts the brain down and makes you a vegetable. He said it's a miracle that you are sitting here now speaking and somewhat in a normal frame of mind. Wow. And I just started crying and I said, thank you, God, for restoring my mind. And I
Right.
had to also repent because I was the same person that laid down every night praying not to wake up.
Mhm.
You know, most people, thank you, God, for letting me wake up. I used to wake up mad. Like, why I just can't go in my sleep? Why am I
Yeah.
here?
Yeah.
Like this is no quality of life. I can't take this. If this is what living feels like, I don't want it. I don't need it. So yeah, that right there was a pivotal point in me fighting. So that was March 2016. August 2016, one of my cousins, she's a second cousin on my mom's side, she passed away. And we went up to Detroit. We were headed to Detroit for her memorial services. On my way there, my daddy's brother called me. He said, "Hey, your grandma just died. I don't feel like dealing with it." I'm like, "Wait a minute, I'm headed out of town. One of
Right.
my cousins on my mama's side just died." He said, "Okay, well, I'm gonna go ahead and pay for the funeral. You just deal with everything when you get back." So I'm like, my grandma just died.
Right.
And I'm on the way to a funeral. And I was just in a mental hospital. So again, I'm getting
There
on
we
the
go.
path. Oh, and that was another thing. When I got out of the hospital, I kicked medicine. I said, I just have to deal with it. I didn't want it. All the medication I had, I threw it in the trash. But I was trying to cope. And at that time, I was a heavy weed smoker.
Mhm.
So that was my coping mechanism. So yeah, my grandma died. I didn't know how to feel because I'm like, every time I get to a place of feeling better, life happens.
Life happens.
Okay. Like, God, what are you doing? Like, am I doing something wrong? Am I deserving this? Am I cursed? Is this a generational curse? So I went through all those changes. And when I remember going to the funeral home, when I looked at my grandma, she looked just like my daddy in the casket.
Oh wow.
So that reactivated that
Yeah.
grief. And I thought, because we were 5 years in since he passed. And it's like, ugh,
Yesterday. It was like it happened yesterday.
all over again. That
Mhm.
was in August. November 2016, my dad's brother, and me and him, we were really close. Him and my dad was 12 years apart. So he was my uncle, but he was like
Yeah.
a brother, a friend, and that was my buddy. We were
Yeah.
real close. We were so close, my dad was jealous of us. So Bad Santa was coming out. That's one of our favorite Christmas movies.
Okay.
I called my uncle, "What you doing? You want to go see Bad Santa this weekend?" He was like, "I ain't feeling good. I'm having chest pains." And I said, "Well, are you all right?" He was like, "No, if I keep feeling like this, I'm gonna die." So I said, "Well, do I need to call the ambulance? Where are you?" And he was like, "Well, I'm at my girlfriend's house. I'm gonna go and call him. I'll call you back." I blew his phone up that whole night. Never got a call back, never got a text. That following evening, the next day, his girlfriend called me, told me he was hospitalized and he was on the ventilator.
Oh wow.
I'm like, God, what is
Everybody that means something to you gone.
not to mention, he made me kind of deal with most of my grandma stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I really didn't get a chance to process. And then, like I said, she reopened my grief from my daddy.
Right.
Okay, then here he is in the hospital. No kids, all this stuff. So they get him intubated. He ended up getting a trach. Then they discharged him. He was getting better. While he was in the hospital, I get a phone call from a lady, and that's a whole nother story. But let's just say my uncle had a child I didn't know anything about. That was a year younger than me.
Right.
So at this point, he's still alive. He's in rehab. He's supposed to be progressing. Out the blue, my uncle caught an infection in his bloodline in the rehab. 2 weeks later, he was dead.
Wow.
You talking about heartbroken,
Yeah.
angry, and after that, after he passed, I had to, of course, deal with people who felt entitled to things. I had to deal with the woman he was dealing with. I had to go through probate. So it was like, why is God giving me all this? Why do I keep going through it? And it's like, why am I inheriting all this stuff? And you know, I have a brother, but my brother's connection with the family wasn't like mine, but I'm the baby. We're 10 years apart. So it's like I felt like I was always carrying the burden of family on my back. So again, grief reactivated. This go round, my grief turned into anger.
Yeah.
I was so angry at my uncle, and I'm like, and I end up finding out when I was going through his papers, he declined a biopsy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and he was still fussing about my daddy. Your daddy didn't have to go out like that. He should have took care of himself. And the same year my uncle died, he was still fussing about my daddy, but he died the same exact way my daddy did.
Oh, wow.
All the difference is I didn't have to pull the plug on my uncle, and that was another prayer of mine. I was like, God, I can't take that again.
Yeah.
And it took me a minute to get over my daddy, and my dad. What helped me make the decision, he always told me, if I ever get in a state where I can't take care of myself and I need a machine to live, don't let me live like that.
Right.
With just signing a paper that determines whether somebody breathes or not.
Breathes or not. Yeah. That's
I had a lot of guilt.
Yeah.
And even though I knew I made the best decision, me and my brother, it didn't sit well with me. So I'm back in the hospital. And that's another thing. Even to this day, if I'm in the hospital and I start hearing machines and stuff go off, it's a trigger.
Mm-hmm.
So as I'm in the hospital with my uncle, I'm watching him deteriorate just like my daddy. I'm watching all his organs shut down. I'm watching all the machines go off. I'm going back and forth with the doctors because they're trying to inject him with all this medication. So it was like, I didn't even get a chance to process. So after he passed, my grief was anger.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why is my life my life? And it was like that appreciation that I had when the guy told me I'm supposed to be a vegetable, it temporarily went out the window again, because I'm like, I'm back at square one. I've done all this work. I've done therapy. I've tried to get closer to God. I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do. And life keeps happening to me. What is it? And I really started feeling like I was cursed.
Yeah.
So, needless to say, 17, it was rough, but I started the end of 17, beginning of 18, I started back getting better. I'm like, okay, life happens the way it's supposed to. I made peace with it.
Yeah.
Christmas, December 2018, my maternal grandmother died. And that was my road dog.
Yeah.
She was 91 years old, and we were really, really close. And I talked to her that night before. We were laughing, talking our usual. And I said, well, call me when you get up in the morning. Normally, when I say that, all right, I'll call you when I get up. That night, she didn't say anything, but I didn't think nothing of it. I'm cooking and, So that Christmas morning, my cousin called me about 9:00 a.m. and was like, Etna not breathing. You might need to get over here. And I know that night before, I couldn't sleep. I had this really weird feeling.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't know what it was. It was just something keeping me up. So when she passed, I was so mad. I was mad at her.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, God took my daddy, he took my other grandma, he took my uncle, and I forgot to mention my mom's brother got killed back in 2007. But at that time, my mental health wasn't an issue then. I was in college.
Mm-hmm.
That put a dent in me because me and my uncle was close, and he was murdered. So that's a whole nother story.
Right.
But it's like, okay, I done lost both of my uncles, and I grew up with all four of my grandparents. I forgot to mention that. I lost one grandfather in 97 and I lost the other one in 2001. So I had my entire immediate family.
Your roots, girl. Your roots. They were set your roots up.
I had all 4 biological grandparents. I don't know too many people with that.
Right. That's a blessing.
I literally grew up with a village. But it's like when all this started happening, I'm like, okay, God, you took my granddaddies, you took my daddy, you took both of my uncles, you took both of my grandmas, you took, well, I can't say he took my child daddy, that was self-inflicted.
Right.
But my child don't have a father, and
Right.
it's like, what am I not doing right? What is it? Because all this, it's enough to make a person crazy.
Yeah.
But it's like, okay, I can't go back to that dark place. I done fought too hard to get here. And what I realized, sometimes we let life stop when somebody else's life stop. But again, this blessing, this gift that God gave me, this little girl, I had to keep pushing. I didn't get a chance to stop. So, it took me some time. I went through my little anger. I was angry when my grandma left. Like, she said, come on, God, take me now. But I just remember looking at her like, you promised me you were going to be here to 100. Because that was our little pact.
Right.
She was going to make it to 100. Which, you know, we don't know the day of the time.
Right. Absolutely. That was y'all thing.
Yeah. So when I started having dark moments, I'm like, okay, I got to find a way to get up out of this. Let me give God glory for what I have had that a lot of people did not have. I gave God glory. Yeah, he might have took everybody else I love from me, but he gave me a grandmother to 91 years old, still walking, still in her right mind, still sassy, cuss you out. And we spent time together weekly. We talk a couple of times a day. But my daughter was able to experience her great grandmother for 4 years.
Right.
We had 4 generations. That's a blessing. And my grandma, she kept saying, I can't wait for Tink to go to school. My baby was an infant. She was determined to see her go to school. And my grandma saw her go to pre-K, and she ended up passing that December. But that August, she saw her go to school.
Go to school, yeah. Right.
And it's like, okay, I gotta be grateful. My daughter had her great grandma.
Mm-hmm.
But that was another thing. On the flip side, here I am dealing with grief. Now I got a grieving child.
Yeah.
I'm an adult. And even though I didn't like it, grief was familiar to me.
Yeah.
But now this baby want to know, well, why we can't go over Granny's house?
Mm-hmm.
Ma, I miss Granny. Ma, I want to call Granny. So it's like, here I am trying to get through my grief and my child grieving. And it's like,
yeah. What to do? What do I do?
So I just had to pray and cry. And so my daughter tried to manipulate me. So she learned how to use her grief to get out of her household chores. So whenever she was supposed to clean her room, she would cry, I miss Granny. And for a long time, you know, I went for it because I miss Granny. Yeah. So one day, I called her. I told her to go clean her room. She was in her room looking at, because she asked me to put a picture of my grandma on her wall. I called her looking at the picture, and she was trying to muster up tears.
Yeah.
So she could cry and say she couldn't clean her room because she missed Granny. And I said, well, I'm sorry to tell you, but Granny will want you to clean this room. So you're going to have to grieve her and clean at the same time.
Right. Crying
she
clean.
never pulled that on me again. But it was very different and difficult dealing with a grieving child because children, they don't quite understand death and grief.
Right.
But I'm also grateful that she understood it at a young age.
Right.
And I don't like that I've experienced back-to-back grief, losing 7 immediate family members. And these are people I grew up in the house with, slept in the same bed with, ate breakfast with, ate lunch with, ate dinner with. it helped me to help other people get through grief.
Right.
And that's the stance that I started taking. Everything that I thought was tragic, that weighed on me and that could have broke me, I feel like, okay, God had me go through that for a reason, because obviously I had the strength to endure and persevere through it.
Absolutely.
So that I can be a light to somebody else.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So let me see, that was 2018, 2019. So the first year I would say that I really had a peace of mind was 2020, the year of a pandemic.
Wow.
And I just remember standing in the middle of my floor. And at that time, I was in a relationship. We both were entrepreneurs. They had put out a moratorium. All the salons were shut down for 3 months. He was a truck driver, and we was on quarantine, so his business got impacted. So I'm sitting here like, okay, I gotta be grateful, because what if I was dealing with severe anxiety, manic depression, about to lose my mind, postpartum, death, or even knowing that I had older grandmothers? What if they would have been in the hospital during the pandemic and I couldn't go visit them?
Right. Yeah.
I said, God took them before this even happened. That could have been me. Right. And so I gave God glory, like, God, in the midst, this ain't nothing but you in the midst of a pandemic and chaos. I got a peace of mind.
Right.
And I just remember that was the first time I had peace in a long time. And that was in 2020. And since then, not to say life has been easy, because it hasn't. I've been kind of up and down, but since then, the past couple of years, I stopped smoking weed. That's another testimony. But last year, I restored my relationship with God and got into ministry. Okay. So that even took me on an even deeper path where really, I think, had I had my spirituality and I've always been a worshiper of God. I grew up in the church, but
right, with that many grandparents, of course.
Yeah, I was at Big Bethel, I was at Hillside, and my mom got saved when I was a child. I was at New Canaan, I was at God's church and Patton Generation. I had so much church, I thought I didn't need church no more.
Right.
But it took for God kept trying to break me. He was putting me in a place to be broke, and I wouldn't break. Yeah. And when I say break, I don't mean in a sense of negative, but God was trying to get me to a place of surrender. Yeah. Because everything that I felt like I needed when I was losing people, I felt like I needed my family. When I couldn't keep my mind together, I felt like I needed medication. When I was struggling as a single mama, I felt like I needed her dad. But through all this stuff that I went through, God kept me.
Right. And that's what he was looking for you to realize.
Uh-huh. And it's like, I always prayed. I will read devotions every morning. That's another thing going through mental health. You have to be very intentional about cultivating your own peace. Right. Even days that you don't feel like it, say affirmations. Right. Well, don't look at it. I remember looking in the mirror, hating myself. Didn't like the way I looked, like, I was disgusted. But I had to start getting in that mirror and say, I love who I am. The person I was yesterday, I will not be. Today will be a better day than the day before. And I just started, whatever mood I was in, I would find affirmations that were the opposite. So I started speaking things into existence to the point where it became a routine of mine. I would get up, do 10-minute meditations. I would breathe in, breathe out. And I remember thinking that stuff was crazy. Like,
yeah, back in the day, I'm like, what did that? Yeah, me
but
too.
You get to having them panic attacks. That breathing will matter. When you just get to being, overwhelmed and you can't control the environment, those deep breaths, breathing in, breathing out, they help.
It calms the brain. It calms the brain down.
And just I had to speak life back into myself. And I had to also depend on God for it as well. So yeah, last year, I restored my relationship with Christ, got ordained in ministry. And even that's, it's a challenge
Yeah.
because we have to let our old selves die.
Yeah.
And just going through, so what I identified, I'm like, okay, God, I done been through all this grief. And I remember some months ago, I was in tears. I kept calling my pastor like, hey, I need you to pray for me. I'm feeling grief. I said the same grief that I felt when I lost all these family members, I'm feeling that now, but it's spiritual. It's not
grief.
physical.
Spiritual grief. Yes.
And I'm like, I don't know how to cope with this. So I just need you to pray. Just pray. Just pray. Just pray. And it's like, after I started getting better, I'm like, all this physical death was necessary to build me up because that old me had to die.
Yeah.
That person who has extreme anxiety and severe depression and like I said, it doesn't go away because life happens.
Right.
But I don't let it define me. I don't let it sink my ship. And I still have bad days. Last week, I'm going through some personal stuff. Last week, I had a couple of panic attacks. I had not had panic attacks since last year.
Right.
But now that I'm rooted in God, it's like, okay, God, if I say I trust you, I got to trust you.
Yeah.
I have to repent for even worrying.
Yeah.
Okay, God, you tell me I don't have to be anxious about nothing. Like, I need you to do something about this. I start trusting God and talking to him more.
Yeah.
And, I can't force people to gravitate towards God and spirituality. But just in this time that I've restored my life with Christ, my spirituality has made a major impact on my mental health.
Yeah. That's that foundation. You got to be grounded to go through life. You got to be grounded spiritually. And I think, this just in my spirit. When you was going through all of that, those praying grandmamas, them people that, that your village that was praying for you had some prayers hanging over your head.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever big mama, grandmama was praying about for you, they were helping. And God had to keep you here for a time such as this, so you could relate to the people in this time, in this present age. So your story has to serve this age of people, this generation that's here now, because what they don't have is they don't have that village. A lot of people out here don't have that village. A lot of people out here, like you said, we didn't talk mental health. It wasn't the topic of conversation. So
it's still not.
Yeah, and the psychosis, the people walking around there in a psychotic state, even just the medication, even how doctors are so gun-ho to give you something. You're not giving me no resources. You're not telling me, well, naturally your body's doing this. Explain to me what my body is going through, because my body is going through trauma some kind of way. Something in my brain is happening, something in my heart, something is happening to me. They just, we'll give you this. Oh, that's postpartum depression. That's severe anxiety. Those are panic attacks. Take 2 of these, blah, blah, blah. You go back and tell them, hey, this not work. Oh, let me just up the dose.
And that's how people end up being drug addicts. And
right.
Testimony, I thank God that's not me.
Right. Absolutely.
It could be, it's supposed to be me. I ain't gonna say it could be. It's supposed to be me. I was addicted.
Right. My mom was addicted to pain medicine. My mom, before she passed, my mom was addicted to pain medicine. And I remember looking at her and be like, man, what's wrong with you? She would go to the hospital every week. Every other day, something was wrong. Something was hurting. Something was hurt. They caught on to it, and they was telling, well, Miss Mary, we don't see nothing. You're not in pain. That's in your mind. And the doctor, they kind of gave me a side swipe and say, hey, watch her, because this is an addiction that she have, and we're going to try to wean her off the medicine. But in her mind, she needs those pills to cope through daily life.
And you know what, too? What I realized, a lot of people, whether it is marijuana, prescription medicine, alcohol, any kind of drug, When you don't face your trauma, when you don't stand in your truth, when you don't want to deal with things and you just pile, those things are coping mechanisms, but they wear off.
They temporary. They definitely
And
wear off.
and when you don't do anything, when you just coping and you not like, if you having something to cope, you got to also have something that helps you along with it, like therapy.
Yeah.
You got to have an outlet, exercise, walk, read, journal, meditate, yoga. You can't just have a substance. I don't care what that substance is, legal or illegal. Having those substances is what take people over the edge, because you're constantly seeking, people don't like to call it a high, but you're constantly seeking that high that numbs whatever emotions that's going on within your heart or within your mind that you don't want to deal with. You got to deal with it.
You got to deal with it. And I tell people that all the time. You're only delaying the inevitable. You gotta deal with your problems. Once you come down off that high, guess what? You got the same problem.
Mm-hmm.
When you come down off that high, when you sober up, that same drama, that same trauma that you haven't dealt with, that same situation you haven't faced, you still got it. You're going to have it again tomorrow and the day after that, and you're going to keep drinking, you're going to keep smoking, you're going to keep drinking, getting high, and at the same time, you're destroying your mind and your body.
And your body.
So you got to.
And destroying everything around
you. So grief is real, trauma is real, depression is real, anxiety is real, panic attacks, all this stuff is real. It's things that we face in life, but it does not define who we are. It does not have to take us over the edge. We do not have to give into it, but you got to be strong enough. You got to have that foundation, whatever your foundation is. And some people is that their spirituality is their foundation. For me, I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me. You know, that's my go-to. That's my go-to. If I need a therapist, if I want to see a therapist, I'm gonna make sure you're lined up with what I believe, because I don't need you to be telling me to go do this and burn this and get a chicken and all of that. I don't want to hear that. I need you to be lined up with what I believe in.
Right.
So people got to find out what works for them in the most healthiest way. We got to get healthy. You've been through, and I think it started, you say your genesis was when your dad passed, and Deidre Jennings said, hey, she said you her cousin.
Hey,
yeah. It started with your dad. And I don't know if you really just grieved him when it happened. Like if you had the time to just grieve him and come out of it to go.
Now when I tell you I grieved my dad, ooh, it felt like my soul came out of me.
Right.
That's how much I love my dad.
Right.
That was my
a piece of us died, because that's how I was with my mom. It took me, and people that know me, they know it took me going to Aruba, because the trip was already planned. When my mom passed and we went to Aruba, I couldn't make, and I told God, I said, God, I don't understand this. You got to stand in the paint with me on this one. I don't want to hear what the preacher got to say. Don't want no deacons.
You don't want to hear what nobody got to say.
Don't come talking to me, talking about heaven ain't got no pain, or earth ain't got no pain. Heaven, I don't want to hear that. I didn't want to hear that. I didn't want to hear all those Bible verses and cliches.
I don't want to.
Right. I didn't want to hear
that. Will help you know what and what not to say.
Right. I didn't want it. I ain't want no, quick quote scriptures to me. I go to church every Sunday. I'm on the youth ministry. I read. I know what's in the word.
You don't want to hear
God got to talk to me on this, because this is a pain that I do not understand. This is new to me. Nothing in life could prepare me for that moment. Nope. Nothing in life, no insurance policy, no money, care nothing about no money, no nothing. That stuff means nothing to me.
Right.
When you took away my very essence of being my mom, my best friend, when you took her away from me, make me understand why you did that. On top of that, all she did was worship you every day. All she did was pray every day. She's a minister. She your child. She brag on you every single day. Not a day went by that I ain't hear my mama talking about God. And you take her from me, you don't hear her. You choose not to hear her in this moment right here. I didn't understand that. I was mad. I was angry. I was hurt. I didn't get it. I'm telling you, Steph, that I did not get it to this day.
Like you
I
said,
get
it's a
emotional
different kind
about
of
it
pain.
because I did not get it. It took me going to Aruba. Me and Duck went on a trip. I love the trip we do every year. We went to Aruba and we was on a sunset cruise. And when that sun hit the ocean, it's such a beautiful sight. But at that moment when it happened, and I've seen it before, but at that moment when it happened, it's as if nobody, and this was a party boat. They was in the back of me. They were turned up behind me. But at that moment when it happened, it's as if I was on that boat by myself. And Jesus was standing in that right there between the sun and the ocean. And he said, "You're gonna be okay." And that was it. It wasn't no long, my child, come forth, walk on water, and do all of this. The voice was so clear. It was so clear and so serene and so confident. It was so sweet. He said, "You're going to be okay." When I got back home, I had to come out of the grave because I was in the grave with my mama. I had to come out of the grave. Yeah. So when I tell you that grief stuff will take you to a whole nother level.
Yeah, you lose yourself because, like you
lose
said,
yourself. Yes,
it's something you can't prepare for. It's something you don't know how to fix.
Right.
And it's, you can be with a person and they can break your heart, but that's a different kind of heartbreak.
That's a different kind. Yes, that's totally different. That's
and you literally can feel your heart crushing.
Yeah. You can feel the broken pieces.
And let me tell you what else dawned on me when I finally got over myself and my grief and my love for my daddy. I had to realize he never belonged to me anyway.
Absolutely. You have to come into that. But it takes time.
Oh, it takes time. It took me years.
Yeah.
And
you got to be in a space where you can hear God's voice.
It was so bad to where I hated Father's Day.
Yeah.
Because not only did I lose my father, I got to watch my child be fatherless.
Right.
And that's the one thing I did not want for her. But again, God's will, not my own will.
Right. But the postpartum, you hit so many levels of mental health tonight that it's almost crazy. And I do want the online audience to check in. Y'all let me know what you're feeling. If you got any questions in the comments, go ahead and put them in your chat. But you touched on grief, that postpartum depression, when parents don't connect with them kids, that maternal instinct don't kick in. That's so real. And that is so hard to see a parent going through.
After I came out of the hospital, I say because she was 3 when it happened. I say about 4 or 5, I started kind of coming along. We started kind of connecting.
Yeah.
But what's funny is now we like this.
Best friends, of course.
She my little sister. It's so funny. But we just, some days I look at her and like, now we the same as that height. Some days I just look at her and I just kiss her. And I don't say it to her, but I be thinking in my head, you don't even understand.
You don't even understand. Yeah.
And even though I was angry about being pregnant, I felt like before she came, a child was disrupting my whole life, not even knowing I had to turn around and repent, because that was the very same thing that kept me alive.
Absolutely.
Because I think had it not been for her, I would have been up out of here.
Yeah. That was your motivation. That was your shining light.
And every day I wake up trying to figure out how harder can I work and what more can I do? Because if I don't be nothing else, I want to be a good mama.
Right.
Because I remember being that mama that was just, I was a caretaker. I made sure she was taken care of. She had whatever she wanted. But that connection, I'm like, where's my connection? And it started making me think, okay, are women lying about maternal instinct?
Yeah.
Like, why God didn't give me maternal instinct? Am I exempt? Is it because this ain't what I wanted? And I also tell women too, when you're pregnant, whether you want to have a child or not, the mind frame that you're in and the posture you're in pregnant, it rolls over to postpartum when you have that energy that you carry, it pours over to your child. So when you're carrying a child, be very mindful about the mental state you're in. Stay in a positive mind.
Yeah.
The being hateful, the being angry, the shoulda, coulda, woulda. I went through all that stuff, and I told you what happened with my child father. I really was mad because it's like, here I am sitting up here pregnant, and I gotta raise this child. I'm already a single mama.
Right.
She ain't even here yet.
She ain't here yet, and I'm already a single mom.
And I went through years where I ain't gonna lie, I hated him.
Yeah.
I hated him, and I hated him because look what you did to my child. And that was another thing. Like, I was carrying so much resentment and grief and anger and pain. And it's like, now I promised myself when I was 39, I'm like, this part of my life, it's got to be different. I can't take these U-Hauls and these storage units and all this baggage over to my new horizon.
Right.
I'm not going to do it, and I can't do it. But mindset plays a major role in mental health. It don't matter if you suffer from mental illness or not, but having a mindset, what you think in your head, it manifests. And I remember when I was in a dark place, everything was dark.
Yeah, that dark. Yeah, it's like a dark cloud just over you everywhere you go. Everything is dark, doom and gloom. Everything just so dark. So them dark places, they real. They are real, but y'all got to know, people got to know that you can come out of those dark places. You can come out of those dark places.
And
you
it's a fight. You got to fight.
You got to fight. And
mental health is not for the weak, but you got to find some strength. You got to find something worth living for, even if it's just your children. Yeah. Even if for your family, but mainly for yourself. And that's another thing. I had to do some self-discovery. Because I've always been a selfless person. I've always made decisions contingent upon other people and how other people feel. And it's like, when I got 39, it's like, what about me?
What about me? Putting me first for a chance.
And when I started doing that, and sometimes people get upset with boundaries.
Yes.
But when I set boundaries for myself and for other people, some people liked it, some people didn't. I'm to the point now in my life, I don't care.
I don't care.
That makes a difference, because when you carry the burdens of other people and what people think and how people feel, when you in the slump, them people be on about their life.
On about their business, they gone.
When you in darkness, they ain't even gonna send you a text, which raises another point. Check on people. You don't never know what somebody is going through. One of my friends, Smiley, when I was in the peak of my postpartum, that girl was on me every day, all day, texting me, calling me. If she would call me and I didn't sound right, I'm coming to your house, and she'll get my baby. You go in there and go to sleep. But she made sure, like, you're not going to go through this by yourself. You're not going to be alone. She was like, I can't relate to the things you're going through, but I know I can be here for you.
That's it.
And she would send me scriptures every day, and I had other people to check on me as well. But a lot of people didn't even know I was suffering. Right. Because I was masking it.
Yeah. We good at masking. We real good at masking.
And sometimes you be so good at masking, you don't even realize you're masking.
Right.
Then when you break down, people like,
what's wrong with you? Yeah.
But I say, check on people. When people come to mind, check on, even if you think a person is strong, check on them. Because just because you smiling, that don't mean it's all good.
Absolutely. And that's those emotional those boundaries to protect your mental health. Make sure you set boundaries for yourself, for your peace, for what what you're doing, protecting your mental health, so you again can show up every day as the best version of yourself, for yourself, taking care of yourself. That's what we've been talking about. It's okay to take care of yourself. We need to take care of ourselves, especially the ones that's been the rock. The go-to person, a strong friend, the family, the family member, everybody calling on every time something go on. Those are the ones that really need to be checked on. Because when we get quiet, hey, we in another space. Now we're still, we're gonna do what we can, but when we get quiet, we start looking different. That's a red flag, and that's with anybody. Like you were saying earlier, if they not acting the way they normally act, check in. Do a mental check-in, a mental health check-in. Sis, you okay? Everything okay?
Right.
So we got to remember to do that. I want to thank you so much for sharing your story and your journey. And I wish you the best. You got it. God got you.
Look, I'm good. It ain't too much that can break me.
Yeah, you just got to keep telling your story so people know that they not alone. So they'll know that, hey, somebody else went through this too. Somebody else going through this, they came through it. So we have to share our testimonies. We have to share so we can help somebody. This has been so awesome. It's been blessed. Oh man, I thank God for you. And I know God has got some amazing things for you in the future in your ministry. I hope your ministry continue to grow. Everything that you want, girl, your business, your baby girl, everything you do is just gonna manifest. Thank you so much for sharing. Please continue sharing your journey. If that's it, we're gonna call it a night because we done did our time. Stephanie, I love you, girl. Your spirit is awesome. I love it.
Thank y'all for having me.
Yes.
Y'all, this gives me an opportunity to get comfortable, with speaking to the mass. Because like I said, I'm over here sweating.
And it just flowed because it's your truth. Like if you live in your truth, if you telling your truth, it's just gonna come out. It's just gonna flow. It's gonna do what it's supposed to do, and that's exactly what happened. And that's all we can ask for, because people respect transparency. People respect it when it's real,
right? And I fully believe in being real.
Absolutely. But we're gonna continue living out our best life. I see you again somewhere.
If y'all want me back on, that.
Absolutely. And then I done found out Deidre Jen is your cousin.
You know Deidre?
Yes, I know Deidre from Jackson Memorial. Her and her husband, them 3 kids, Jasmine and Brent and all of them. Yeah.
That's my family.
Yes, they're such a wonderful family. They sweet.
Are.
They sweet. I love them to death. But thank you again. Live It Out Inc. I will see y'all next week. Some of y'all I see on Saturday. Continue to live your best life. And until next time, don't just live life, live it out loud.